One of Hollywood's most beautiful love stories was actually a complete lie? Picture this. A handsome movie star and a glamorous actress, married for 12 years, living what everyone thought was the perfect Hollywood dream. But at age 57, the man finally spoke up and revealed the disgusting truth that shocked everyone. This is the story of Robert Taylor and Barbara Stanwyck. And trust me, you won't believe what really happened behind closed doors. Robert Taylor wasn't always a movie star. He was born with the name Spangler Arlington Brew on August 5, 1911, in a tiny town called Philly, Nebraska. Can you imagine growing up in a small Midwestern town and dreaming of Hollywood lights? That's exactly what happened to young Robert. He was just a regular kid with big dreams, but he had something special about him. People noticed his charm and good looks from an early age. His family taught him strong values about hard work and being kind to others. These lessons would stick with him his whole life, even when he became one of the biggest stars in Hollywood. Unlike many actors who let fame go to their heads, Robert always remembered where he came from. His friends and co-workers said he was professional, kind, and someone you could always count on. When Robert decided to chase his Hollywood dreams, he packed up and moved to Los Angeles. He enrolled at the University of Southern California to study engineering. Can you believe it? The future movie heartthrob was going to be an engineer. But life had different plans for him. While he was at college, he discovered acting, and everything changed. It was like finding his true calling. Hollywood scouts noticed Robert right away. His striking good looks and natural charm caught the attention of Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, one of the most powerful movie studios of that time. Getting a contract with MGM was like winning the lottery for a young actor. They saw his potential and knew he could become a huge star. What made Robert different from other actors was his ability to play all kinds of roles. Some actors got stuck playing the same type of character over and over again, but not Robert. He could be a romantic leading man in one movie, then play an action hero in the next. He starred in dramas, romances, historical movies, and war films. This flexibility kept him working and popular for many years in an industry where careers could end overnight. By the 1940s, Robert Taylor had become one of Hollywood's most bankable stars. He worked with legendary actresses like Greta Garbo in the movie Camille in 1936. His performance in Waterloo Bridge in 1940 showed everyone that he wasn't just a pretty face. He could really act and make people feel deep emotions when they watched him on screen. Robert had a natural way of acting that didn't feel fake or overdone. When he was sad, you felt sad. When he was angry, you understood why. This ability to connect with audiences made him special. He worked with the best directors and actors of Hollywood's golden age, and everyone respected his talent and professionalism. As the movie business changed over the years, Robert changed with it. When he got older, he moved from playing young romantic leads to more mature roles in epic movies. Films like Quo Vadis in 1951 and Ivanhoe in 1952 showed that he could play heroic characters with dignity and strength. When television started becoming popular, Robert didn't fight it like some movie stars did. Instead, he embraced this new medium and found ways to reach even more fans. Now here's where our story gets interesting. After dating for 3 years, Robert Taylor married the famous actress Barbara Stanwyck on May 14, 1939. Their wedding took place in San Diego, California, and it was the talk of Hollywood. Both Robert and Barbara were huge stars at the time, so their marriage was like a real-life fairy tale to their fans. The wedding was elegant but intimate, with only close friends attending. Marion Marks, the wife of comedian Zeppo Marx from the famous Marx Brothers, was Barbara's matron of honor. Robert's best man was Buck Mack, who was not only a friend, but also married to Barbara's sister. This made him like a father figure to Barbara, showing how important family connections were to both stars. From the outside, Robert and Barbara looked like the perfect Hollywood couple. They were both talented, beautiful, and successful. Magazine covers featured their smiling faces, and gossip columnists wrote about their glamorous life together. The public couldn't get enough of them. But here's something many people don't know. Barbara had an adopted son named Anthony, or Tony, from her previous marriage to actor Frank Fay. When Barbara married Robert, Tony became part of their family. Robert took his role as stepfather seriously, trying to provide guidance and support to the young boy while managing his own busy career. However, all was not well in paradise. Living under the constant attention of Hollywood reporters and gossip columnists put enormous pressure on their relationship. Every time they went out, cameras followed them. Every argument or disagreement risked becoming front-page news. This kind of scrutiny would be difficult for any couple, but it was especially hard for two people who were both used to being in control of their careers. After nearly 12 years of marriage, the fairy tale came to an end. In February 1951, Barbara filed for divorce, ending one of Hollywood's most talked-about marriages. The news shocked fans who had believed in their perfect love story. After the divorce, Barbara kept custody of Tony, maintaining her close relationship with her adopted son. But Robert's story didn't end there. In 1952, he met a stunning German actress named Ursula Thiess. Ursula had made a name for herself in European movies before coming to America. She was not only beautiful, but also warm and understanding, qualities that drew Robert to her immediately. Both of them understood the pressures of being in the public eye, which gave them a special connection. After 2 years of dating, Robert and Ursula got married on May 23, 1954, in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. They chose this location because Robert loved the outdoors, and they both wanted a wedding away from Hollywood's prying eyes. This marriage seemed to be much happier than his first one. Robert and Ursula had 2 children together, a son named Terrence, born in 1955, and a daughter named Tessa, born in 1959. Robert absolutely loved being a father. He often talked about how much joy his children brought him and treasured the quiet family moments away from movie sets and studio pressures. Ursula also had 2 children from her previous marriage, Manuela and Michael Thiess. Robert embraced his role as stepfather to these children too, working hard to provide them with stability and guidance as they adjusted to their new life in America. The blended family faced challenges, but Robert was committed to making it work. Tragically, this happy period was shattered by devastating events. On May 26, 1969, Ursula discovered the lifeless body of her son Michael in a West Los Angeles motel room. Michael had died from a drug overdose, ending a life that had been troubled by personal demons and mental health struggles. Michael's problems had started years earlier. In 1964, when he was still a teenager, he had been sent to a reformatory after a shocking incident where he tried to poison his father with insecticide. He had spent time in mental hospitals trying to get help for his struggles, but sadly, he couldn't overcome his demons. This tragedy was especially heartbreaking because it happened just weeks before Robert Taylor himself would lose his battle with lung cancer. The grief of losing his stepson so close to his own death added an extra layer of sadness to Robert's final days. Now, here's where our story takes a shocking turn. At the age of 57, Robert Taylor, who was still handsome despite his silver hair and advancing years, decided to speak openly about his marriage to Barbara Stanwyck. What he revealed stunned everyone who heard it. For years, the public had seen Robert and Barbara as Hollywood royalty. Their pictures were in every movie magazine, showing the soy, at glamorous parties and premieres. Everyone believed they had lived a fairy tale romance. But when Robert looked back on those years, he didn't remember them fondly at all. "People thought Barbara and I had the dream marriage," Robert said, and you could hear the weariness in his voice. But the truth was, it wasn't all love and roses. It was something else, something far less pretty. Can you imagine how shocking this must have been for fans who had idolized this couple for decades? Robert, who had always been known for being professional and keeping his private life private, was finally telling the truth about what really happened behind closed doors. Robert explained that when they got married, Barbara was already a much bigger star than he was. She was powerful, respected, and knew exactly how to manage her career. Robert, on the other hand, was still learning the ropes at MGM Studio. This difference in their career status affected their marriage in ways that nobody on the outside could see. Barbara was the bigger star when we married, Robert said honestly. She was powerful, respected, and knew how to run her career with an iron hand. I, on the other hand, was still being molded by MGM. And that difference, it spilled over into our marriage in ways that outsiders could never see. What Robert revealed next was even more disturbing. While the public saw elegant Hollywood parties and perfect photographs, Robert described their private life as often disgusting. That's a strong word to use about a marriage, isn't it? Behind closed doors, we weren't Robert Taylor and Barbara Stanwyck, Hollywood's golden couple. He revealed, we were two people who often couldn't stand each other. There were fights, sometimes over the smallest things. She could cut you down with words sharper than any knife. I'd retreat, sulk, sometimes disappear just to keep my sanity. That's not love. That's survival. Think about that for a moment. Here was one of Hollywood's most handsome and successful actors saying that his marriage felt like survival rather than love. That's heartbreaking, isn't it? But perhaps the most shocking revelation was Robert's claim that the marriage was partly arranged by the studio. MGM wanted their leading man to have a respectable image, and marrying Barbara Stanwyck, who was admired for her professionalism and self-discipline, fit perfectly with their plans. It wasn't all my decision, Robert admitted. The studio liked the idea of me with Barbara. It made sense for publicity, for keeping up appearances. I won't say there wasn't attraction. There was. But love is something deeper, something freer. I never felt free in that marriage. Can you imagine being pressured by your employer to marry someone for the sake of your career? It sounds like something from a movie, but this was Robert's real life. Robert described Barbara as having an intense personality that often left him feeling overwhelmed. She was older than him and more experienced in the movie business. She had a no-nonsense approach to both work and life that could be intimidating. Barbara wanted control, Robert stated bluntly. In her career, in her home, in our marriage. I was expected to follow along, to keep the image polished. And I did, for a while. But inside I was miserable. It's disgusting when a marriage becomes more about power than about love. Despite his harsh words, Robert didn't completely dismiss Barbara's positive qualities. He acknowledged her loyalty, her dedication to work, and her high standards. But the warmth you would expect from someone talking about a former spouse was completely missing. Instead, his words were filled with regret and bitterness. I don't hate her, Robert clarified. I never hated Barbara, but I hated the way we lived together. It was like living in a beautiful house that felt cold inside. No matter how fine the furniture or how grand the surroundings, it never felt like home. Think about that comparison. A beautiful house that feels cold inside. That perfectly describes how Robert felt about his marriage to one of Hollywood's most celebrated actresses. These revelations completely shattered one of Hollywood's most carefully preserved love stories. For decades, fans had believed that Robert and Barbara had the perfect marriage. Magazine articles and movie studio publicity had painted them as the ideal couple. But Robert's honest words revealed the ugly truth behind the glamorous facade. What's truly sad is that both Robert and Barbara were bound together not by genuine love and passion, but by duty, appearances, and the pressure to maintain Hollywood's dream image. They were both victims of a system that valued public perception more than personal happiness. People think they want the life of a movie star, Robert said quietly, as if he was talking to himself. But they don't know what it costs. Those words are haunting, aren't they? They remind us that fame and glamour often come with a price that most people never see. Behind the beautiful clothes, expensive cars, and glamorous parties, there can be loneliness, unhappiness, and lives lived for show rather than for joy. Robert Taylor's decision to speak honestly about his marriage to Barbara Stanwyck shows us that even Hollywood's golden age wasn't as golden as it appeared. The studio system that created so many beloved movies also created pressure for stars to live lives that weren't always authentic or happy. It takes courage to tell the truth when that truth goes against what everyone wants to believe. Robert could have taken his secrets to the grave, leaving fans with their beautiful illusions intact. Instead, he chose honesty, even though it was painful and potentially damaging to his reputation. This story reminds us that we should never assume we know what someone's life is really like based on what we see in public. Social media today creates the same kind of pressure that Hollywood stars faced in the Golden Age. People present perfect images of their lives while struggling with real problems behind the scenes. Robert Taylor's story also shows us the importance of marrying for love, rather than for practical reasons or outside pressure. A marriage built on genuine affection, respect, and compatibility has a much better chance of bringing happiness than one based on career considerations or public image. In the end, Robert Taylor found real happiness with his second wife, Ursula Thies, and their children. Despite the tragedy of losing his stepson and his own battle with cancer, those years seemed to bring him the authentic love and family life that had been missing from his first marriage. Barbara Stanwyck, for her part, continued to have a successful career and maintained a close relationship with her adopted son Tony. She never publicly responded to Robert's revelations, choosing to keep her dignity and privacy intact until her death. The story of Robert Taylor and Barbara Stanwyck serves as a reminder that real life is often much more complicated than the stories we see on screen or in magazines. It shows us that even the most beautiful and successful people can struggle with loneliness, unhappiness, and the pressure to maintain a perfect image. But it also shows us the power of speaking truth, even when that truth is difficult or uncomfortable. Robert Taylor's honesty about his first marriage helps us understand that authentic happiness is more valuable than public admiration or career success. As we look back on Hollywood's golden age, we can appreciate the beautiful movies and talented performers, while also recognizing that the people behind the glamour were human beings with real struggles and real pain. Robert Taylor's revelations don't diminish his talent or his contribution to cinema, but they do remind us that he was a real person with real feelings, not just a handsome face on a movie screen. What do you think about Robert Taylor's shocking revelations? Does it change how you view Hollywood's golden age couples? Does it make you think differently about the pressure that celebrities face to maintain perfect public images? If this story fascinated you as much as it fascinated me, please hit that like button to let me know. Share this video with anyone who loves classic Hollywood stories, and don't forget to subscribe for more incredible tales from Tinseltown's golden age. There are so many more secrets and shocking truths waiting to be uncovered, and I can't wait to share them with you. Until next time, keep questioning what you see on the surface, because the real story is often much more interesting than the fairy tale.